Okay, what's up everybody? It is me, Jarrett, over here at VixVision 1394. And before I go into the unboxing review of the Ridstar Q20, I kind of just wanted to go over everything before that, before the unboxing, like how I came about this one, why I chose this one, some of the backstory to it. Excuse me. So I ordered mine off Amazon. If you go to Amazon and just type in Ridstar Q20, it should be the first one that pops up here. So let's select that. And this is the bike. And I've went back and forth. I went back and forth numerous times. I've wanted an e-bike since they first came out. Just couldn't afford the price tag on them, like the Super 73s and even more recent, some of the Mac Foxes. So they just never fit my price point for one. Now, I'll say lightly, they're semi-reasonable in cost. So some of these, like the Ridstar, TST, even the Mac Foxes, $1,200 and under, what would I say, maybe $600 to $1,200 for a decent or a good 1,500 watt e-bike. So where I live, I had seen numerous people with the Ridstars, these Q20s, and I always was getting good feedback from them. So this one was always in the back of my mind with going with this, and I had noticed recent that the 2,000 watt here was $649 from $699. So at that price point, $649 with $150, it took the price up to $800. The traditional, I was going to go with the 1,500 watt initially at $749, but I thought, well, for the difference, the savings there, up to $50 final price, it made the 2,000 watt version here $800 and just $50 more than the 1,500 watt bike. So that was kind of like the first thing here recent that propelled me forward. The second thing that I'm going to show, because I was in between this and the TST, and I'm going to show you kind of the size comparison chart here. As you can see here, the Ridstar on the left, A, which would be the overall distance from tire to tire, is 69 inches, and then the height of the bike, B, here is 46 inches. Now, I'm not like extremely tall. I see that this says this bike would fit up to, the TST says it'll fit up to 6'3", and the Ridstar says 6'2". The height difference and then the length difference here of the Ridstar was important to me. When I had seen people around my neighborhood with these, I never rode one. I didn't ride any other bikes, but when I stood next to it, it seemed like it was the appropriate height for me. Then recently I ran into somebody who had this TST bike, and I'm glad they did, because I stood next to it and I realized that, look at the, tire to tire here, 60.33, and it's 69, 6 inches difference approximately, or 60.33 and 69, it's 8 point whatever distance, and then the height 42.89, and then the height here of B was 46, so round that to 43, 3 inches difference on height, and then 8 point something on the length. So that was enough right there as far as the size. I wasn't too worried about anything else in terms of like weight capacities or things like that. 450 pounds, 330. I'm about 165 pounds, somewhere in there. So that's why, I ultimately ended up choosing the Ridstar here. Other than that, I didn't really have any significant things that were like causing me to choose the Ridstar. It was just from the feedback that I had received locally on them. So it was the feedback for one, the price point for two, and then the sizing for three. So yeah, this was the bike that I chose. And let me also show that I think this might be it, the first picture here. I want to go over the total price. $649 shipping and handling, taxes, etc. Final price came to $863.50. This was ordered on the 20th, and the bike was received. It was delivered on the 22nd. Now, I do believe that the warehouse is local to the state where I live, but I was extremely happy with that as well. So, having said that, yeah, that was kind of just my little preliminary here of what bike I chose and why I chose it. And let's get into how the bike arrived to me right now. Okay, so this is how the bike arrived to me. Good condition, no complaints. Standard shipping box, seems like it's padded well and plenty of protection. So let's unbox it. All right, so here I laid the box down. It's pretty heavy, so I didn't want it falling while I was, using the box cutter here to open it up. Presentation-wise, looks nice. Here's the accessories box, manual, the headlight, some tools here. There's the spindle for the front tire. Those bolts go to the headlight and the pedals. So here I just go through and remove all the protective wrappings, zip ties, etc., stuff like that. This might take a little long, but watching back, I actually appreciate all the time and protection, effort to make sure nothing happens during shipping that they put into this. With a lower price point bike, I wasn't sure how much they might have to cut some costs and not provide as much, but yeah, I was really happy with the way everything was protected or wrapped. That's the battery charger there. And yeah, just removing the last portions of this protective wrapping. Okay, on this step now, what we want to do is unloosen and take out these 4 bolts that hold on the front portion of the stem. You'll see here. There it is. So that's the front portion of the stem that will hold the handlebars in place. So next, just bring the handlebars up. It's nice to have an extra set of hands to hold them like centered, to get them centered, as well as just hold the bars in place. Next on this, what's kind of important is don't over tighten these bolts right off the bat. Do them incrementally, and on a stem, it's always nice to go in like an X pattern. So there you can see I'm starting with the top left, then I'll go to the bottom right. Then I'll go to the top right and the bottom left, repeating that X pattern and tightening the bolts as I go until each one is fully tightened. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the front tire. First thing you're gonna wanna do here is remove this temporary spindle that's in there. That just comes from factory for shipping purposes to keep the forks in place. You don't need to keep this for any reason. Just remove it and discard it if you wish. Okay, once that's removed in their front brake system, make sure to remove that little plastic piece or your front tire won't go on. Remove the bolt and the washer from the spindle that we're going to use. The front tire should slide in real easily now. Again, an extra set of hands to get it lined up. And slide the spindle through there that direction. And we'll want to put the washer on there. And then the bolt. And this one, make sure you crank this one down pretty good. Put a lot of force into this. We're not going to like over tighten everything, but we definitely want your front tire bolts to be snugged up really well. So yeah, just tighten that up good. We don't want to strip anything, but you can feel it and you'll see here. So yeah, just tighten that up and that's pretty easy. Now we're going to move on to the bolts on the side of the stem. So what we want to do here is get the front tire as straight as possible, then get your handlebars straight and begin to tighten the left bolt down. Again, snugging it up just a little bit. Then we're going to go to the right one, snug that one up a little bit, and then we're just going to go back and forth and repeat this process from left to right until both of these bolts are snugged up pretty tightly. Again, we don't want to tighten to strip anything, but we want these cranked down. We don't want the bars turning or moving when we're riding. So yeah, get them cranked down enough without the fear of stripping anything. Okay, now we're going to move on to the digital display. First thing you want to do is just remove the 2 bolts from the bottom of it. Once the 2 bolts are removed, you'll see that there are 2 plastic interior pieces, and you can remove and discard those. You don't need to keep them. Once they're gone, that'll allow the display to snap onto the bars. There, kind of snapped into place, and then we're going to take the 2 bolts and just retighten those back up, put them in place, and once that's done, yeah, the display is installed. Okay, we're going to move over to installing the headlight now. The bolts that were loose in the box, they are from the side there. What we want to do is remove the bolt and the piece of rubber there from the other side as well. If you notice, the cable there is towards the top and it's going to plug in right there. So that's the way I'm going to mount this. So you want to put the bolt in there first and then the little kind of rubber piece to the inside. Tighten that up. And we'll go ahead and do the other side the same way. Rubber piece to the inside, bolt to the outside. And we'll just go through and snug both of those up here. Once that's done, we can move these pieces from the side pieces up or down, depending on where you want your headlight to be. And once you have it situated, go ahead and tighten these interior bolts up. Keep it in place. Then we'll do the headlight itself, tighten those up. Once that's done, the cable, as you'll see there, will plug in down below, and it only can plug in one way. There's a notch that will slot in, so I have my son do it. His eyes are better than mine, but it can only plug in one way. Don't force it. Alright, the front fender is going to require us to remove that bolt, that one, and this one over here. First, I'm going to start with this bolt up here, so we're going to remove this fully. And once this bolt is removed, we can begin to put the fender into place. So we're going to go from the inside, and we want that little metal piece to be to the front. And we will just screw that piece, that bolt back in. And once that's done and tightened, the 2 support pieces on the side, we will take that bolt out, that bolt out. All right, once these bolts are fully removed from the side, we're gonna keep the stabilizer piece, that little piece of metal, to the outside, and then we just simply reinstall the bolts and tighten them up, and that's pretty much all there is to the front fender. Okay, so the pedals are labeled with stickers there on the bottom, R and L, so just attach that to the corresponding crank arm. It's labeled with an R and L, and then it also shows the orientation there, or which way you want to tighten the pedal. Just make sure to get them cranked down really good there. They do have a tendency to come loose, and then just repeat the process on the left side. All right, so at this point the bike's fully assembled. Just gonna remove all these little plastic or protective coverings from everything and just give you guys a look at the bike at this point and some product shots, so enjoy. Okay, in the compartment here, you'll find the keys for the battery and the ignition. There they are. First thing you want to make sure of is make sure the battery is locked. Then we're going to turn the battery on, and you can check the battery indicator, and in my case, I did have some charge. Turn on the ignition, hold the M in for about 3 seconds, and that'll power on the display there. And at that point, you're ready to go. Right now, it's capped at like 11.
I was wondering, because I was like, you weren't going that fast.
No, how do you uncap? At this point, I also noticed that my tire pressure felt a little low, so when I checked them, it was reading about 14 PSI. On the side of the tire, it says the max is 20, so I did inflate them up to about 20 PSI. Okay, to remove the speed limiter on the bike, the first thing you're going to want to do is power the bike on, then press and hold the M button until the digital display turns on. Next, hold the up and down arrows until P0 appears. Press the M button until an 8 appears next to the 0. Down at the bottom, it'll flash 100. Press and hold until it resets back to the default screen. Now we're going to want to press the up arrow so the PAS or pedal assist is at 5. And once that's done, the bike is unlocked and should go up to approximately 30 miles per hour.
Cooking.
I think I almost hit 25.
Yeah.
23.
Yeah.
All right, I'm recording. So yeah, on video here, it doesn't look like, you're going all that fast, but when I'm up 25, almost 30 miles per hour, I think the max I hit is 28 at this point. That's no pedal assist, it's straight throttle. And it was pretty windy that day too, so I think I was going into the wind. I might have been able to get that up a little higher, but 28 miles per hour is moving.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Okay, before I close out the video here, I just kind of wanted to go through and give you guys my final thoughts. A little list here of my pros and cons. All my cons, it's really nothing negative. It's just things I've been thinking about, so it's just labeled considerations. But on the pro list, price, $800. I mean, that's right where I wanted to be, so perfect on that. Shipping was 2 days, can't complain. The packing was also perfect. The ease of build, I would say it's fairly easy to build the bike. I do have a past history of building BMX bikes, so, you know, it kind of came a little easier to me, but with maybe this video and other YouTube videos in general, in the manual, the ease of build, it's not too bad. And then lastly, and the most important, the overall fun of the bike, which I was wanting this for, it's amazing. Can't complain, it's perfect. Now, over to the consideration list. The cell phone holder, I wish it was removable, but it's hardwired in and I don't want to cut or remove any wires. I wish that was just a kind of a plug and play thing where it could be removed. The suspension feels a little stiff. Have to be careful on bumps or going like up and down curbs. Not necessarily the curb itself, but the little embankment to get to the road where sometimes the pavement isn't lined up with the curb perfectly. So, you know, those I have to just kind of ease over a lot of times. And I'm not sure if that is the suspension being an issue or if that's the tires. And that would be the next topic I'm going to move on to. The tires included are only 20 PSI. So when I'm riding and going over bumps and things like that, they do feel soft. It feels like I'm hitting, you know, they hit hard on there. So I'm not sure if the tires, if you guys know out there, if anybody's experimented with different ones or has history, let me know. But what do you guys think? Is it the suspension just in general that's a little stiff, or is it the tires, or a combination of both? It might be, you know, both issues causing the problem. I do think that I'll probably upgrade to some 30 PSIs down the road, but the 20s are good for now. Yeah, considering installing a mirror or mirrors, and that's where I wish the cell phone holder was removable. When you're going 25, almost 30 miles per hour, the last thing you want to do on these that I didn't really even realize, you don't want to take your eyes off the road. So having a mirror or mirrors will probably come in real handy. Also, this little nitpick, but I wish there was an OEM cargo option from Ridstar themselves. I'm sure I could DIY something or find something on Amazon that I could make work. But I do just wish Ridstar had something, or Ridstar, however it's pronounced, Ridstar, had an OEM cargo option, something I could just install easily, and it's directly from them. And then the last thing on my things to just be aware of, after a few rides, my pedal came loose and actually fell off while I was riding. So I do have and have had a habit of pedaling backwards when I'm like coasting. So most likely the pedal issue is probably my fault. And I have kind of like noticed that and taken, I'm trying not to do it as much. But if that is a persistent issue for somebody, you could consider adding some Loctite down there on the pedal threads and seal that up on the crank arm a little better. So yeah. That's my list. I can't really think of anything else. If you guys have any questions or comments or concerns, leave them down below. I'll try to help you out. It might help me. If you've enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. And if you like the channel, maybe consider subscribing. So yeah, hopefully I'll have some ride videos. With the GoPro, I can record some of these rides with it and just get out and have some fun. So yeah. If you guys are enjoying the videos, like I said, maybe like, comment, subscribe, and keep watching. I'll be back for more videos in the future. Later.